Tennessee, 1994. Somewhere past the dying cornfields of Bell Hollow, there's a farmhouse the locals won't talk about after sundown. Peeling white paint, a windmill that never spins, and a barn door that swings open on its own even when the air is dead still. They say something lives there, not ghosts, something older. On October 13th, 22-year-old Maren Keller parked her truck by the rusted gate and stepped out, boots crunching gravel. She was drawn to the place, though she couldn't say why. She wasn't from Bell Hollow, just passing through, chasing dead relatives and small-town secrets for a thesis no one would ever read. She carried a tape recorder, pressed the red button. "Entry 1, she whispered. "It smells like wet iron and something else." Inside the barn, time shifted. The air was thick, not with dust, but with something heavier. There were symbols scratched into the wood. Circles, eyes, hooks, some still wet. Then the whispering began. Not outside, inside her head. She dropped the recorder, her knees buckled, her vision blurred. Something was in the loft above her, dragging something soft. Her breath fogged, the sound of hooves or footsteps or both. And then silence. When Maren woke, it was dawn. She was in the middle of the cornfield, barefoot, her palms raw and bleeding. She remembered nothing, but her body did. It remembered everything. The sheriff found her walking down Route 9 with no shoes and a 1,000-yard stare. She didn't speak, not until he wrapped her in a thermal blanket and asked her name. "Maren," she croaked. "I think something touched me." At the hospital, her blood work came back clean. No drugs, no alcohol, no trauma the doctors could explain. But the nurse who took her vitals swore her pulse was irregular, slower, too slow. She went back to the motel that night, locked every door, taped shut the air vents, but the smell followed her. Wet iron, milk gone sour. She woke at 3:12 a.m. to the sound of something scraping across the ceiling. Not rats, something heavier. It moved in slow, dragging circles. Then a knock at the window, soft, deliberate. She lived alone. There was no one outside. That's when the dreams began. Each night she saw the barn again, only it wasn't empty. There were figures moving between the beams. Naked, too tall, bones like sticks, joints bending backward. Their skin was gray but stretched too tight. Their eyes were pits. One held her hand. Another whispered in a language she couldn't understand but could feel inside her womb. When she woke, she was bleeding, but not like a woman usually does. It was thick, dark, like oil. On the 7th night, she called her cousin in Alabama. Told her she needed help. She didn't say why, only that something inside her was growing too fast. By the time they came to pick her up, she couldn't stand. Her stomach was round. Her fingernails had turned black. She looked in the mirror and saw something watching her from behind her eyes. It wasn't her anymore. By week 2, her belly moved on its own, not the way normal babies kick. This was something else, rhythmic, intentional. Like something was tapping from the inside, counting. Her cousin Ellen tried to take her to a hospital in Birmingham, but the tires blew out 20 miles from town. All 4. No nails, no punctures, just shredded. Like something had clawed them from the inside. They turned back. Maren didn't sleep anymore. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she was back in the barn, surrounded by those things. They touched her stomach. They sang in that whispering tongue. The song wasn't meant for her. It was for it. She found a name carved into the floorboards of her father's old house. Thatcher Abel, 1871, God forgive me. When she asked Ellen about it, her cousin went pale. Said there used to be an orphanage out past the old quarry, burned down over 100 years ago. Folks said it was struck by lightning. Maren found a photo from the archives. 11 children, none smiling. One in the middle, a girl with black eyes and a swollen stomach. The caption read, "Last known image before the hollowing." Her breathing changed on the 18th night. Shallow, fast, she couldn't eat. Her gums bled, her voice dropped an octave. Sometimes she caught herself speaking, but not in English. When Ellen walked in one morning, Marin was on the floor, eyes rolled back, whispering that same song. She was smiling. Something was coming, and Marin wanted it. Marin went missing on the 21st night. The door to the farmhouse was wide open. No signs of struggle, no footprints, just a dark, wet trail that led out toward the barn. Ellen followed it in the rain, heart thudding louder than the thunder overhead. Inside, it smelled of rust and milk and something spoiled. The hay was soaked. In the middle of the floor, right where Marin had been found weeks ago, lay a circle of ash and feathers, pulsing with heat though there was no fire. Then the screaming started. Not Marin's. It was deeper, lower, like a man being strangled underwater. It came from the barn walls, from the rafters, from beneath the floor. Ellen backed away, but the boards beneath her creaked open on their own, revealing a crawl space she had never seen before. Candlelight flickered below. She climbed down. The room was stone, carved by hand, with symbols etched in every surface. And in the center, Marin lay on her back, belly grotesquely swollen, skin stretched translucent. You could see its hands pushing against her womb, pressing to get out. She was humming that song again. A shadow passed behind Ellen, then another. Figures began to appear along the walls, tall, robed in tattered linen, faces hidden by bark masks, their limbs bent the wrong way. The midwives had returned. Marin smiled as her eyes rolled back. "It's almost time," she whispered. "He's not the first, but he'll be the strongest." Then she screamed, and the stone beneath her cracked open. The stone split with a sound like bones snapping. Marin arched her back and howled. Blood poured from her mouth, not red, but black, thick like oil. The midwives did not move to help. They stood in a circle, arms raised, chanting in a language that made Ellen's ears bleed. The room grew hotter. The candles blew out on their own, yet the circle glowed not from flame but from something beneath, pulsing like a heartbeat. Then silence. Marin collapsed. For a moment nothing moved. Then it crawled out, not crying, not breathing. Just moving with long, slick limbs, too many joints, no eyes. Its skin was gray and wet like something pulled from a lake bottom. A symbol was burned into its chest, the same one etched into every wall. It turned toward Ellen and smiled. Ellen ran. She scrambled through the crawl space, up into the barn, out into the storm. Behind her, the earth trembled. The barn groaned and then collapsed, not from fire or explosion, but as if something massive had taken root and pulled it downward. She didn't look back. 2 weeks later, they found Ellen wandering the fields, barefoot and mute. The farm was gone, just cratered dirt and ash. Marin was never found, but in towns nearby, strange children started appearing. Quiet, pale. Born to women who swore they were never pregnant. Every one of them had a birthmark on their chest, a ring of thorns. Locals call them the Hollow Born. And they never blink.